Welcome back to another episode of Teck One Two. I'm your host, Rolando. I'm the founder of Global Tech Worldwide, and I'm glad that you joined me today for another special round of talking technology with myself. And I'm going to have somebody else join me here, one of my colleagues who's going to come in and help me out with a few things. And today we're talking technology, and we're talking webcams. You know, a lot of people have gone in and bought webcams over the last 18 to 24 months. And many of them were low-end webcams, and basically because you just needed something to show your face. Well, I'm going to show you today a webcam. If you're looking to upgrade your look, if you're looking to upgrade your brand and how you present yourself to your customer, a very good webcam that allows you to show yourself in a much better way than you probably are doing if you're using one of those lower end webcams. So without further ado, helping me along for the ride today is my colleague over here, Virtual Ori. What up?
What up, bro? Hello, Amazon Live. It's good to be back, and we already have a bunch of viewers in Amazon.
Awesome.
Hey, shout out to the 2 viewers on stream right now. If you unmute and say hello, you know, we can do some shout outs. But yeah, other than that, I'm excited to talk about the Konftel Cam20 with you, Rolando.
Awesome. I know. You know, we play with a lot of toys, Ori, and we have the fortune of being able to compare a bunch of them. And there's a lot of really cool things that this particular webcam does that you're not going to find on some other webcams. So I'm really excited to show the people that are watching us today why they should look at this webcam. So let's jump right into that. And before we give you all the features and all the specs, I want to show you what you get inside the box. So Ori, let's go into that. So this is what the box, it's not any extremely fancy kind of looking a box, but what you get from Konftel. They're a Swedish company, or you know, the Swedes are known for being very environmental friendly, and this company is no exception. They have climate neutral certification, which means when you get this box with this product in it, they've done the carbon offset to make sure that the emissions that were generated creating the item and shipping the item are offset. So that's something, if you're really into the environmental movement, or you want to be as carbon neutral, I was looking for the right word, carbon neutral with getting a product, Konftel is really heavy into that. And that's something you can feel good about. They have it all over their website. You could check that out as well. So that's the first thing right off before we open it. So you get it in this brown box. And what I'm going to do, let me move my keyboard out of the way. Okay, so you can see that better. And in the box, I had already taken out the remote because I had been playing around with it for the last couple of days. But you get this nice, cool remote, which makes it very different than most webcams. Most webcams, you just get it. It sticks on top of your computer or your monitor, and then you're done with it. This one, you get a nice little cool remote. All right. Ooh, look at that. Let's do that again. Ooh, there we go. I'm messing up with the camera today.
Yeah, maybe you could even bring it closer, Ro. Like really point it forward.
Let's bring it forward. There you go. Well, I'll find the sweet spot. But anyways, you get this cool remote with it, so you could do some things, and we're going to show you what it looks like. I've got it mounted to my monitor here, and I'm going to actually show you live. We're going to go away from the studio cams in a moment, and I'll show you what that actually looks like in real time. So you've got the box. Let's open it up. And in the box, like I said, you get this remote control that comes with it. You have the webcam. Now this does look like a different webcam. Most webcams are a little small item. They're probably the size of what I've got here, like a little jar, and that's it. This particular webcam got several features like 4K built in. You've got on the back an HDMI port, so you can output what you're seeing to a second monitor. So that's something very different that you're not going to see on a lot of webcams. You also have on the bottom of the webcam, give me that behind the shot. I want to show this, there we go. So on the bottom on the stand, it's more robust. So it can flex, it can open, it can secure itself to many more size computers, monitors. So it's very adjustable. So you can do a lot of configurations and pointing it up, down, and having it really stay on your monitor or laptop. The other thing that you want to take a look at when you look at this, you have on the bottom here, you have the 1/4 inch, I believe it's the 1/4 inch screw that you could use if you wanted to mount it on a tripod. Let's say you're in a classroom environment, you have children, you want to be able to, if you want to be able to use a tripod, it will screw into a regular photography tripod and mount right on there. I've used it like that as well as what I've got another one mounted on here. Okay, so with this, you also have built-in microphones. And we're going to talk about the importance of audio, because if you're somebody that really wants to let your voice be heard clearly and properly, as good as this webcam is, and actually virtually all webcams with the exception of one that I can think of, the P15, all webcams have a microphone that's built in, and it's right here into the camera itself, which is not the clue that I was looking for. But what you do get is when you have that webcam physically located away from your face, your voice has to travel at least 12 inches, depending on how far, or more. Like mine is at least 2 feet away from me, the webcam that's over on the monitor. So when you're talking to a microphone that's 2 feet away from you, that voice has to travel a long distance in order to be picked up by the microphone. And because of that, if you're not in a quiet environment, it's gonna sound like everything else is in the room with you. The fan, the air conditioning, the dog, you know, the person at home, if you're at home, everybody that's around you if you're in the office. So from an audio perspective, Konftel has a kit that includes several other pieces. It includes a high quality speakerphone and a hub to allow you to better improve your audio, so that when you are presenting yourself with a beautiful camera like this, you can also sound like a professional. So we're going to get to the kit in a moment, but I wanted to point that out. In terms of weight, it's got a little bit of weight to it. So it's not like a little light paperweight, you know, it's got some weight, it's got some oomph to it. The graphics on this are really nice, and it's got a very wide aperture. It's got a 123-degree field of view. So you're going to get a very wide angle to view this, to see the video, or the person that you're talking to see the video that you're on. In the box, you also have some getting started, the quick guide, the warranty card. You've got a really long cable here, a very long cable that will connect. It's USB-A, so it will connect USB-A on virtually every computer out there. If you've got USB, obviously you'll probably need a converter from USB-A to USB-C. So that's what you get inside the box. And inside the box, you also get the batteries for the remote. Let me not forget that, because what's the point of having a remote if you don't get the batteries included, right? So that's thrown in there for you. All right, to talking about Konftel, I think we could show, now we're showing the product. It is really nice, good looking product. It's a very robust product. Why don't we just show people exactly what it does? We'll jump into the remote control, and then we'll jump after that into the kit. So I'm going to switch my camera. So you're looking at me, and then you're looking at this overhead shot using Sony cameras. We're going to go to the Konftel, and you're going to see some really impressive things. So Ori, give me a moment while I switch cameras on my end.
Sure, no problem.
All right. So I've switched over to the Konftel. So you're going to get to see what it's like here, but a little bit behind the scenes. You see this camera set up behind me. You have my shelving of goods and all kinds of knickknacks that I have here. But look at this picture, Ori. First, just off the bat here, I'm going to look into the camera now. I think we're getting a really good looking image. And what we're using are not $20 cameras here to bring you these video images. Yeah, what you're looking at is straight from the Konftel. So the picture looks good. You get a really wide angle. So you get, if you're in a classroom environment, you're in a huddle room, this is going to be ideal if you want to use something small, or you're in a small space, you're in a personal space, maybe your home office, or you're using this in your office. You get to present a wide view. So if you've got several people, this will do the job, present you very well. Now, let's say you're not in a huddle room, you're not in a classroom, you're not maybe in an office where you need to present 2 or 3 people, you just want to present yourself, and this is too much. Here's the beauty of this. Just grab the handy dandy remote and look at this.
Wow, that is handy.
It is extremely useful. And then you're like, wait a minute, you're focusing on the wrong part. Watch this, Ori.
Oh, that is cool. And it still looks It still looks kind of clear, even if it's zoomed in like really
Yeah.
close.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
that's
you're the camera guy. You know the technology, video, and all that kind of stuff. You know what this stuff does. So if you just wanted to show your face, maybe you're like me. Maybe you don't want to show all this stuff that you got lying around on the floor. Maybe you got kids or dogs or other knickknacks and things, and you don't want to. Here, it's just a. This is what you would normally see, or this is what you normally would see on most webcams. Right here, just this kind of headshot
Yeah.
type of thing. And so maybe I say, you know, man, I want to show a little bit more. Maybe I want to show off the environment around me and just make some adjustments right here. And all of this, again, I'm just moving it right here with the remote. I can't tell you, Ori, how awesome that is. I've shown this product to other clients, and I've had it sometimes where, you know, I'm not in this particular office, and I've had to zoom out just to show stuff. And they're like, how are you doing that from your desk? I've got a remote. I've got a remote right here that allows me to do that. So, and it does it in two ways. You've got a fast zoom out right here. Boom.
wow, that's very wide. Is that the widest it goes, Ro?
That is the widest. So you get to see actually my green
That
screen
is-
here.
That's pretty wide.
So if I put my arms out, you see I've got pretty good wingspan here.
Yeah.
That I'm covering maybe a good 6 feet around me, up and around. So you get a really, again, so if you are, whether you're in a home office or studio like this, or you're in the classroom, you're in a huddle room or a huddle space, this is going to get you those several people, usually 3 or 4, sometimes up to 5 people that you would have in a room, that it would cover the size of this type and get everybody nice and framed in. And if you wanted to zoom in on somebody, you know, here you go. Boom. You just move it around. You can move it left. I'm going to move it. Although, let's see how far left it goes. Look at this. So now you get to see a little bit of the green screen on that end. Let's move it all the way to the right. Let's keep going. Oh, my knickknacks and tools and things like that. Look at that. Ooh, I'm almost out of frame there. Almost completely out of frame.
Yeah.
So you get
You
a
can even
good,
show your desk, right?
yeah. So if I wanted to do, if I'm doing a video, let's say like right now, we're doing an unboxing and we're talking to clients, and we want to go ahead and, you know, talk about, you know, this. Oh,
Yeah,
they've got the
go
latest
flash
mouse.
the other one. Go
that?
flash the other camera.
Yeah.
The other Cam20.
Yeah.
Like,
There we go.
Like point it forward for the people. That
Yeah.
is amazing.
There you go. So you could use this also as a tool for creating videos, like what I'm doing right now. We're creating a video live, so you could use this to, you know, show people products. You know, you got to show the product. You could see, like I said in the past, you could see here. Now you're looking at it from the view of another cam. You could see the ports on the back, the HDMI port, the USB port. So in the box, it's a USB. It's not. I can't remember the exact term. This is a USB, but it's like a printer cable. That's what I'm thinking of. It's a printer cable style on this end, but then USB-A on the other end, so it connects to your computer. All right. It's very easy to move. You want to zoom back out. Boom. I'm back to showing my environment. So you could demonstrate products. You could show off. You know what? I've got my notes. I want to see what happens if I zoom in on my notes. Will it do that? So if I'm trying to share documents with somebody. Oh yeah, the light from my floodlight
might
here
be
is
a bit
overexposed.
Yeah,
Let's
it
see.
might be a bit too strong.
Yeah, you could kind of get away with it. But you know what we haven't done, Ori? We haven't even optimized the settings. So one of the things that, here we go. Yeah, you could do some document sharing if you had to, you know, medical stuff, journal stuff. If you're on a secure link, you could share confidential documents, that kind of stuff. I like that. Let's show the folks, Ori. Let's try to tweak some things here. Let's see. Aha, here we go. You have the ability on this remote. Now I'm doing this again, all on the remote. If you don't really love your image that you're looking at, or there are things that you want to do to change the way it looks, I highly recommend to go this route of going into the menu and looking at some things, because sometimes there are some things that are off. Maybe your monitor looks a little weird. Maybe you're trying to do a vertical image. There's a number of things that we could do here. So Ori, I know you are the guru when it comes to this, so I need your help. All right, let's just make some small tweaks here so that folks can see what's going on. Before we do anything else, if you see flicker, maybe you're in Canada, Canadians, if you're watching us, or other parts of the world, you may not be using the same exact frequency in your electricity or lights, and this causes some flicker, right? And the way to get rid of that is using this anti-flicker, so it'll switch over to a different frequency instead of 60 hertz. All right, in our case, we want to leave it on 60 hertz because that's what we get here in the US. All right, you could leave the compensation, backlight compensation, gain, exposure compensation, mode. We're on full auto mode right now. If we wanted to change that over, we could. I go here and you could see it's almost like, Ori, you have a camera that has different shutter speeds and whatnot in order to compensate for the type of either action or lack thereof that you have going on. So you can see right here, 1/200, 1/250, 300, 500. That's getting much darker. So this is going to vary depending on the type of lighting. As you can see, look, if you can look behind me this way, you see what happens when I change the shutter speed? Or can you explain to our folks why that's happening? You see the lights?
Right. Yeah, so essentially when a camera has its shutter, it tries to take a frame by opening up what is essentially a shutter there. And so those bars that you see traveling in a certain direction is the same direction the shutter travels. And since you want to synchronize your shutter speed with the frequency of your recording, then something really fast, like it's a division thing between the shutter speed and the hertz of lighting. So that's why we essentially create that rolling effect.
Over 1/10,000. Look at that. So if you do have, if you're, I guess, really looking to do high speed, right?
I wouldn't do that on a webcam, but and
you know what? If you're adventurous, maybe you're adventurous and you want to go ahead and make some video, I'd love for you to send us some videos using the 1/10,000. I guess what you're saying, Ori, is these settings will allow you to really compensate for what's going on in your environment, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
You're looking for?
Yeah, but I wouldn't use shutter priority if that was one of the modes. Let's see. Do they have aperture priority or no? It's a bit more basic.
It's very basic. It's not like your standard DSLR camera or mirrorless, but it's giving you something that you don't normally see in a lot of cameras. So if you're trying to get just the right look, you're trying to dial in a certain look, maybe, Ori, we'll go back here. What I was trying to do here is maybe you're wanting to have a certain look. So if I want to have a bright look, you can see I've changed the shutter priority, right, to 1/90. Go to 1/60, but maybe I want it maybe just a touch more moody. You know, maybe what you're doing with your video, you want to bring the lights down a little bit, so maybe it's not as bright, right? There we go, to 50. But you're the pro when it comes to this. Where should we be set here for our?
I'm not sure. I'd have to eyeball it for this one. So the first thing I noticed, it's a little cool, so I wouldn't really mess with the shutter speed, but
all right,
maybe 1/150, 1/200 is safe.
1/200.
Yeah, 1/200 is an interesting place to stay.
Okay, so
there's a couple settings. Yeah.
All right, so we'll leave that there. So these are again all exposure setting. With exposure, you have the ability to control the brightness, and you can go right in here, and this could be done in full auto.
All right, I think in full auto is safer for webcams.
Yes.
So what we can do is it has exposure compensation, I believe, and that's the number we'd want to finagle around with to kind of change the look. So bringing that down should essentially make it darker.
We can go negative. There we go.
Yep.
That's happening.
Yep.
Ooh, look at that.
So if your lights are a bit too intense, then that's the place I'd go to without touching much. Just
Now,
exposure compensation.
it's a good point. So this product, from talking to Konftel, this is used in classrooms quite a bit. Government and education tend to use this a lot. And if you've got those really bright overhead fluorescent lights, sometimes they're very unflattering in how it presents your look. Those are what I guess you would call in industry, Ori, harsh lights. And so harsh lights don't really give you nice, glowing, soft look. And if you wanted to improve on that, I guess exposure compensation, Ori, is probably the place to start for what you're saying, so you don't have to monkey around with so many settings.
Yeah. For like 90%, 99% of the users of a webcam like this, I'd say that's the only thing they should worry about.
Okay, perfect. So we got it on -2 right now. We'll just leave it there. Let's take a look at what some of the other settings. Bright, gain, like you said, you if it's too bright, we can just monkey with that. There we go. The brightness, you got that. Ooh, too much. And what I like about this menu, it cycles through. So if you've gone past your setting, you just keep your finger. Now again, I'm manipulating this all from the remote. And it gets too bright, you could keep going and it'll just come back to the lowest setting, right? You don't even have to worry about it. Okay, right about there or lower? What do you think, Corey? What do you see?
Yeah, right about there.
6, 7, that makes sense. All right, so let's get out of exposure, color. And what I'm doing here is simply just clicking on the left, right on the remote to get me into those menus. All right, I click on home and it's on auto white balance. And I believe for most folks, this is going to work. Am I right?
Yep.
And if you want to change how that look and feel is, you just click over here. And as you can see, it gives you some presets. This is the white balance for an indoor. Now, I'm sure they've picked the reason why they want this particular one for indoor, because in indoor you typically have low lighting. In our case here, I've got a couple of lights that are on. That's not the case. I'm gonna do something.
Again, let's play some B-roll for you folks. And this is the actual Konftel that Rolando has on his desk that we're looking at on the screen right now. And look at that. It is a longer boy, right? Compared to
it is longer than most, but what you get is a lot of good circuitry built in, and you have the ability to use a second monitor. Some people want the ability to not just see themselves on the computer, but they may be showing this image to a group of people. They may be working on something else that requires them to show that image on another monitor or another location. This gives you that flexibility. The bottom line here is with the Konftel, you have some flexibility that you will normally not see in other devices. The other thing Konftel tends to do with their devices, they are platform agnostic. So we were talking about Microsoft Teams. With the Konftel, you can use it across any platform without worry that if some devices, or the reason I say that is that with some devices, Microsoft Teams certified devices out of the box are going to work straight away on Microsoft Teams. But when you want to use it with other platforms, you get a little bit of I don't want to say complication, but you're going to have to go in and finagle the settings, and sometimes they may not work very well on other platforms. It depends on the device. There's many webcams out there that do different things, but bottom line here with the Konftel, it's platform agnostic. So if you're going to use it on multiple platforms, you would want to get a Konftel webcam because it's going to work well across all of them. Now, if you are a Microsoft Teams user, all you've got to do is set it up, put it in, and change the settings inside of Microsoft Teams so that it sees that as a webcam. All right. So what I did with the settings, with the lighting, I just want you to see how different things look. That's really what I was trying to go for here, Ori, is how lighting changes what you do within these settings. So we were talking about this is outdoor. You can, if you want to have it outdoors, because typically you're going to have a lot more sunshine, a lot more yellow light. they're calling it a one push. Oh, wait a minute. That is a weird indoor. And again, we have lights here. I've changed the lights so you can see that it does look a little different. The moment you do change lighting, you can change the color temperature. So if you're so inclined and you know what color temperature is, or can you give us a breakdown? Color temperature. Why would that be? Why would anybody monkey with the color temperature?
All right, so color temperature is usually a bit more specific as to what warmth or tone you have for your image, and daylight is supposed to be around 5500 Kelvin. So
I'm going to crank it there. I'm going to meet you at 5600. So that's
all right,
exactly what
so
I've done.
you look a little warm right now, and that's because your room is kind of warm.
It's yellow.
Yeah,
I have yellow,
it's yellow
walls.
So to compensate for a warmer room, I'd bring it down towards the 3000 to 4000 range, but depends on you're gonna have to eyeball it, bro.
Yeah, you know
So
what?
if it's too cool, go warm it up by moving it to the higher end.
I'm gonna just for the folks watching us, I'm gonna take it as woo. See, and it cycles right through when you get to the lowest setting. So 8,000, 2,500. This does look like a Swedish blues, I would call it. That's a little too cool for what we're going for here. I have tropical blood in me, right? So I like it just a little bit more colorful, but not too overexposed. I would say right about there. It's not the brightest. Oh, that's a little too much color. Right around there, 4,300. If I were making some tweaks here, that's where I would leave it, especially for the lights that we have on. As you can see, I did open a window behind me. All of these variables change the way you look. Now, if you're not inclined to monkey with any of this stuff, all you got to do is come back over here. And this is a manual mode. Let's go back to auto. Boom. And the built-in algorithm will figure out what the right settings would be for the color for you. All right. Image. This is an important one. There are times when you are presenting yourself on screen. If you're just yourself, it's a one woman, one man show. The contrast and the sharpness may be too high. And if that's the case, if it's too sharp, you may find yourself showing some unflattering marks, maybe some wrinkles you're not really fond of. You could take the sharpness down, and that will kind of mask a little bit some of those wrinkles. The other solution to that is you get a little bit wider shot. And so you get a little bit less of those imperfections coming through. So that's what you get here. You can also look at this. So if you were to ceiling mount this thing, and I've seen where go to here. So now on most webcams, it just sits on a monitor, right? Like this.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But what if I wanted to do this, Ori, and hang it from the ceiling? Because I'm in an office where I'm showing a room, and the only way for me to secure this is from the ceiling.
Or underneath a television, right? Yeah.
Or underneath the television. For some reason, instead of putting it this way underneath your television, right, where your television sits above it, maybe you want it underneath, but you can only use it in this fashion. This is another huge distinction. So now I've got this upside down, and if I wanted to, I can change the vertical and horizontal, so I can flip the image. Let's see. Look at that.
Ooh, interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. Then you can also flip the vertical, like we were talking about. Here we go. Hello. But guess what? What if, just so in real time, you could see that this actually works. I'm back to right side up, right? So the world is right. And I've got and as you could see, it kept the image the right way. Now I'm going to go back. This is back on my monitor. So you may have a situation where it calls for that. You've got the ability to do that right here. Again, from the remote, flip it around, voila, back to the way it should be. So you have a lot of options here with this Konftel Cam20. I think we may have, if you're getting some noise, you have the ability to do some noise reduction. You've got the ability here to take a look at the firmware. If you had any issues with Konftel, this is where they may ask you that. What firmware, what model, all that kind of stuff. So you have that available to you as well. Very easy. Again, very easy. All on the remote. All you got to do is push the menu button. And there we go. Now, what I've experienced, and I'm using right now, this monitor is connected to a Windows machine. On Chrome, on a Mac, for whatever reason, the image was flipped horizontally. So my left was my right and my right was my left. Because this webcam has the ability, again, to flip that around. No foul, no harm. Again, just reach for the remote, press the menu button, and go into image. And then you flip it horizontally, and now the image is where it should be. All right. Did I cover enough on that one, or did I miss anything on that one?
No, I think we got it.
I want to show you one last thing before we move on to the kit. So this is the image that you're seeing. Many people today, Ori, and I'm gonna disable the tabletop for a moment. I'm gonna show folks what you're getting, because many more people do not have a webcam that is anything like this. From a business grade perspective, they're using the laptop built-in webcam. And I want to show you the difference, because that's important for you to see, for those folks that are shopping around looking for something to improve that look and feel, what you're going to get once you get that, so you know what you're comparing yourself to. All right, so I'm going to switch my tabletop webcam here over to the integrated webcam that's built into the Lenovo.
Laptop,
So yeah, right into the laptop. So what you've got, go ahead, show them side by side now. Okay, so the image on your left, which is with the microphone boom, that's with the Konftel Cam20, and the image on the right with the green screen behind me, right here with the green screen behind me, that is the built-in cam. Let me move that a little bit. Okay, so I see a much clearer, much sharper image on the left. That's our Konftel. On the right, we have the built-in webcam from Lenovo. Now, I'll tell you this, just so you know, I'm looking right at the Lenovo camera when I'm saying this. This is the latest Lenovo webcam. We just got this less than 30 days ago. And you could see that, for one thing, the slightest little touch on the table, do you see how much? And both of these are sitting on the same table. The one's on a monitor and the other one's just over off to my side, the Lenovo. I just nudged the table a little bit and you could see that the Lenovo bounces around a whole lot more. It's almost as if it doesn't have image stabilization, Ori, right?
Yeah, I don't think the Lenovo has any image stabilization. Does the Konftel have one?
That's a good question. I'm not sure about that one. That's a good one, but by just looking at the image and the difference of how the exact same table and the vibrations on the table affect the image, I would say the Lenovo has no image stabilization of any kind. It's possible that I don't know. That's a good one. You stumped me. There's very few people that stump me. You did it today, Ori. You get the prize of the day. You stumped me because I don't know that one. But I'm sure we could find out, and we could send out an update over social media if it does. But by looking at it, I'm just going to do that again. I'm just going to bump the table a little bit. You see how much more the image from the Lenovo moves around? That's just I think
it also has to do with the field of view. Since the Cam20 is a much wider camera, there's tiny shakes like that really aren't as noticeable.
Okay,
compared to the Lenovo.
Let's do a little bit of that. Let's try to bring it in relatively into the same field. Head and shoulders. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. The table bump test. Look at the image with the green screen.
Yeah.
It is
a lot more shake
around.
there.
A lot more. Look at that. Woo!
Because I think the monitor of the laptop would be wagging back and forth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not. I mean, they're both. Again, they're both. And I'm going to try to hold on. I've got my hand. I'm going to put it right on the laptop. Look at what happens. It's still jostling around a bit, right? Yeah. So this is what you're getting. I'm going to look over here at the Konftel. This is the Konftel webcam compared to the Lenovo, and it's an i3 using an i3 Intel processor. This is the latest processor. It's that mid-range laptop that many, and that's why we got it, Ori, because many people are using this mid-range or entry, depending on which one the entry, even if somebody would say even entry level of laptop is. So Lenovo, you make good products, but when it comes to the laptop's built-in webcam, it just doesn't perform nearly as well with as much features as you would get on a webcam like the Konftel. All right, so let's switch back, and we could.
All right. So once again, we have a tabletop shot of this is the Konftel C20 Ego Hub.
That's correct.
Right.
So in this box, you get one of these. So it comes with the Konftel Cam20, which we took out just a little bit ago. And let me open up the other items that come inside this brown box. This product also has the carbon neutral rating on it from Konftel. So again, all of their boom. We're back. So in the box, let's take out the other items. You're going to get a speakerphone. Let me put that there so you can see that. That is a Konftel Ego speakerphone. It's a small, what they call the personal sized one, so you can take that with you on the go as well. And you get the hub. And the hub is good if you're going to connect to a laptop or a PC and want to display everything on that PC. You have the option to display via HDMI and USB. Let me talk about that in a moment. Move this box out of the way. So you've got the hub, which we're going to show off in a second. You've seen the Cam20. That's also part of the package. And let me show you that audio. So we were talking earlier how the audio, Ori, is just as important as the video, because I've been on so many calls and conference calls over the last 2 years, and the audio for so many of these calls, Ori, is so hard. It is really hard to sometimes understand, to hear, when again the microphone is 2 feet away on somebody's laptop or they're yelling into it, and so it makes it very difficult to have a really good conversation. Again, if you are a business, you owe it to yourself and your employees and your colleagues to really up your game. I don't think we're going to go back to where we were pre-COVID, where everybody's back in the office. So that home environment or that huddle space, or even if you are in the office and you plan on doing a lot of that conference calling off of your desk, you owe it to yourself to really upgrade the audio, because it makes a huge difference. Now, let me take out. It's nice. It comes in a neoprene bag, so you can take it on the go with you. You've got a very nice, very comfortable shape, of a nice form factor, actually, where this just fits right in your hand. This is a very unusual form factor. A lot of speakerphones today in this price range, in this kind of personal desk type of form factor, are usually round. A lot of them are round, but this is kind of at this shape. It's kind of triangular. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that right? Did I want to count that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. So it's technically a hexagon, Ori. Is that right?
Yeah, I think
6
so.
sides, but they're 6 sides with cut corners, right? So it's a hexagonal. How do you say that, Ori? Hexagonal?
Hexagonal?
It's a hexagonal form factor on this speakerphone, and it is very easy to use. I've used this before. On the back here, you've got a USB mini adapter on the back. It will plug in to your computer via USB. It's got Bluetooth built in. It's got an actual power button. Let me tell you, from using so many devices, one of the most frustrating things for me, and I get to play with all these toys, is when you don't have a dedicated power button, when you actually have to hold a button down for 3 seconds and then use that same button for mute and maybe something else. it can be very frustrating for your users. Now, if you're looking to buy something like this, again, this is designed to be easy. Konftel bills themselves as an easy to use type of company, and all their devices are very easy to use. And having a dedicated power button on the back for turning it on and off, if you'd like, is very beneficial. I find it for me, again, having used so many devices, I love the power button that's dedicated on there. I also like, and I find it interesting, that they have an audio port. So you can plug in your headphones, and if I wanted to, I could, so Ori, I'm not going to be hearing you while I'm doing this example here. I've got a 3.5 millimeter connector, which is what I'm using to listen to Ori right now, but these could be a pair of headphones or another audio device. And I just plug it on the back. And now instead of the audio being routed through the speaker, it comes right through this cable and into my headphones or other device that I have it connected. Maybe there's an external device that maybe your smartphone for some reason doesn't show. I don't think you can pump it in. I don't think from an input perspective you could do that. But what you can do is connect it via Bluetooth. So when you grab your smartphone, let me grab mine. You can connect it via Bluetooth, and now you have a much, much better speakerphone than your smartphone. Smartphones, again, have a very similar type of situation when you're comparing it to the laptop. Laptops are great at sending emails. They're great for doing documents and spreadsheets. When you're going to get online and show your face, that webcam isn't the best. And the same thing with the mobile device as well as the speakerphone. One of the most frustrating things for me, Ori, is when I'm talking to somebody, I can tell right away when they're on the speakerphone because I can hear everything in the room. And sometimes you don't want to hear everything that's going on in somebody's room, right? And there's no noise canceling, so it can't filter that voice out. The speakerphone will serve you well, whether you're using it for your audio conference calls or your video online sessions when you're in Teams and whatever, Teams, Zoom, any of those platforms. It's plug and play, so you're going to get a very easy to use device. You know, Ori, one of the other things when we're talking about improving audio, with this, the microphone essentially that's on here, you get very good pickup range, but because it's also closer to the source of audio versus maybe the webcam, in this case being the Cam20, the pickup is going to be much better for in terms of the voice clarity. So you're going to get, oh, look at that. Speaking of voice, someone decided to call me while I'm on air. How frustrating. You've got a few other buttons. Let me go through here. You've got the buttons, they've got NFC built in. So if you're into the NFC craze, you just bring your cell phone close, boop, it pairs. You also have other function buttons that are on here. So if you're watching a video, you can fast forward, you can pause right here so if you're listening to your favorite tune, you're streaming Pandora or YouTube or anything, whatever, you got the ability to fast forward and pause, and also answer and disconnect. So you can, it's got a very easy, very intuitive on here. It's got a green and a red. Green check mark, so if you want to answer the call straight away from the speakerphone, all you do is press the green button. Red obviously gets rid of the call or terminates the call. So that's the speaker hub. So you've got your Cam20, you've got your speakerphone. In the box, I forgot to mention, you get a USB cable along with your user manual. Lastly, inside the kit, for those people that have one port or very few ports, you're going to want this hub kit that Konftel makes, because it makes your life a whole lot easier. It allows you to plug everything into one thing and display it on your PC using the USB. Now, if you use the HDMI connection, you could still use HDMI. It still has the ability to do HDMI. One thing to point out about this hub that I'm showing you is that, well, there's a lot of accessories here. So it's got everything you need from an accessory standpoint. You've got the USB cable. You've got 2 USB cables. You've got 3 USB cables.
Wow, that's a lot of cables.
And I'm going to exactly. So I'm going to explain that in a second. You've got the power supply, and because Konftel is a global company, they have power supplies for virtually all around the world. So if you're watching us in Canada or in Europe or some other part of the world where you're using a different type of connector into the wall, they got you covered, along with some Velcros straps in order to secure the hub, if that you so choose. Maybe you want to hang it vertically or under a desk or somewhere where you're saving space. You're talking about, I've actually got all kinds of gizmos under the desk that I've secured. So with this, you'll be able to connect everything up to your laptop. You'll be able to connect a camera, which is what we've got here with the Konftel. You can also hook up an external if you wanted to, let's say down the line, you want to upgrade to what a pan tilt zoom camera. You can connect the pan tilt zoom camera that Konftel makes. So maybe you want you're in a bigger classroom, or you decide to move, you're in a bigger room and you need a little more oomph, a little more beef out of the lens in the video. You can upgrade and you can still use this. Now, why this hub? So for a lot of folks that use rooms, not room teams that are for Microsoft necessarily, but rooms where you have other people coming in with their laptop. This allows you to easily plug in all of those devices that are already, let's say, pre-wired inside that location, and bring that laptop and plug that laptop in. So yes, we do have a lot of wires because these wires are made for different things. They're made one for the laptop, one for the Konftel Ego itself, and then you've got a third one, which would be for this guy right here. So you've got one for each. One for the speakerphone. Let me line it up for you. One for the speakerphone, one for the Konftel, and one for the laptop. Yep, this got it the other way around. And one for the laptop. So now you're completely covered. You don't need to go anywhere to get extra cables and accessories. You've got everything you need. And if you've got one of these rooms where you've got it all wired up, one of the issues is, well, what do I do when all these things, how do it work? So got you covered, because the hub will connect all of these devices via one USB cable right into your laptop. So this would be sitting inside the conference room if you're using a conference room or a huddle space, and you just take that bad boy, plug it in USB, and you're good to go. Now, here's one thing that you'll want to, here's a pro tip. Can you give me a pro tip, Ori? I haven't done that today. Pro tip numero uno. So if you decide to go the route of using the hub for displaying the image via USB, you'll need to download the Display Link software. I'm gonna repeat that again. You want to use the Display Link, L-I-N-K software. It's a free software that you use, and I actually have to use it with my monitor over here that I'm looking at my image in order to get the image off of my laptop to display on this monitor. You'll need to do that if you plan on using USB. You don't need to do that if you're connecting HDMI into your laptop, so you're outputting HDMI from your laptop to a monitor. You just don't need to do that. Now, not all laptops, not all computers have HDMI, and that's why this hub is so good. If you don't have HDMI, you're covered. You just need to make sure you get and download the Display Link software on your laptop so that you can actually see that image on a second monitor. Okay, so that's the pro tip for today. Now, all of this here, again, you probably, for some, maybe a little bit much, but for those that are in rooms where you have multiple people that are going in and out of those rooms, this is going to be your best friend. And like I've said before, and I've said earlier, government institutions, education, and even other businesses are using more and more spaces that could be shared with smaller groups of people. This is ideal for that type of situation. And the Konftel folks got you covered. All right. I think, Ori, did I miss anything? Did I miss something that you wanted to jump in and discuss or say? Did we have any shout outs that we need to give out?
No, I think we're good for today, actually. So we have, just want to say goodbye to our last few viewers on Amazon Live. Okay. And you've been watching Teck One Two. No one shouted in the comments today. That's fine. So no random giveaways.
No random giveaways. That's okay.
Yeah.
We'll save that for the next time. All right,
Yep.
then. So today you've been watching us on Teck One Two. Joining me has been Ori in cyberspace, cyber somewhere. Virtual Ori joining me, holding it down. So I appreciate you joining me today, Ori, and helping me out as you always do. And thank you for joining us today. And if you haven't followed us, go ahead and click that follow button. Click and bump the like button, and follow us on Amazon. We also are on YouTube. We're also on LinkedIn and several other social media where you can get in touch with us. You have other questions, send us your questions and comments, because we love questions, and we may feature it in our other segment that we call Answer the Community, where we take customer questions and questions from all over and answer it. So if you got something you need an answer to that's regarding office technology, stump the expert, myself or my other colleague Dave, or even Ori. We'll throw Ori in the mix as well. He's got an expertise in video production and on producing, and throw it his way, and maybe he'll get on Answer the Community and join me and answer some of those questions.
Maybe one of these days.
So thank you very much. Thanks for joining me today, and I will see you next time.
Bye, everyone.